Hi there. Thank you for choosing eLock DeepDetect for your server endpoints integrity protection and breach detection. This video provides a quick introduction on how DeepDetect can be a valuable addition to your organization's arsenal of cybersecurity defenses. Today, news of cybersecurity breaches affecting large organizations and critical infrastructures is becoming a common occurrence. Unlike generations ago, it is no longer solo hackers breaking into networks for fun and thrills. Now, it is all about profit, power and control, driven by large-scale ransomware groups, organized crime, APT groups and nation-state threat actors. If large organizations from the likes of Microsoft, Cisco, and Uber, having thrown millions into their cybersecurity programs and still suffered from embarrassing data breaches, it is not an overstatement to conclude that a security breach is bound to happen anywhere. It is really a question of when. The bigger your network, the bigger the surface area of attack. It takes just one weakness to exploit and gain entry. With that in mind, it is imperative to prepare your defenses and deploy the necessary sensors to detect a breach as early as possible and respond before heavier damage takes hold. Visibility is key. Here we explain how DeepDetect works on a high level. First, we deploy lightweight agents on your server assets, like your Windows and Linux servers for example. These agents continuously monitor files and registry for signs of unauthorized tampering. Using DeepDetect Intuitive Web Console, we build a policy to specify what files, folders or registry to monitor. Trusted software on the server is whitelisted accordingly. Our agents will monitor your server assets in real time based on these policies 24/7. Now, whenever a policy violation is detected, for example a sensitive folder is deleted, a bad software is being downloaded or ransomware trying to encrypt your business files, DeepDetect picks it up, raises an alert and initiates response measures immediately like recovering a tampered file or killing the bad process for example. Automated response can help keep an organization's operations running while buying your IT operations team valuable time to react, respond and investigate the incident. At the same time, DeepDetect records and maps out various indicators related to the incident to help your team figure out who made the change and how it happened. These indicators are correlated and presented visually to speed up investigation. Certain known attacks can also be narrowed down immediately as DeepDetect uses powerful Yara scanning engine and a curated rule set to scan the offending files and processes related to a tampering event. Using AI, the wealth of event data captured across all agents can be fed into machine learning neural networks in order to better classify threats and improving the overall threat identification engine. Before we show you a demo, let's look at DeepDetect's architecture. All you need to do is to install DeepDetect client software we call agents, on your designated servers. These agents will connect back to our cloud backend. You can then manage these agents from our web console. The lightweight agent can be installed on both Windows and Linux operating systems. On Windows, we support from earlier Windows 7 and Windows Server 2008 to the latest versions. On Linux, popular Linux distributions like Red Hat, CentOS and Ubuntu are supported. To access DeepDetect Web Console, admins can access it using most modern browsers today, like Google Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari and so on. Now let's see how DeepDetect works. We will take a look at the web-based management console where most of the action is. How easy it is to install a lightweight agent on both the Windows platform and Linux platform. A quick look at how we configure the policy of what to monitor and what not to monitor. And how we push policies to agents. Let's start with the console. This is the login page. Delivered over a secure connection, the console supports multi-tenancy and allows multiple admins or analysts to set up and configure their own agents and associated policies. Let's log in with the right credentials. For enhanced authentication security, two-factor authentication using Google Authenticator is also supported. Once logged in, a dashboard is presented with useful statistics and charts, allowing the admin to quickly pull information where needed. Some of the information provided include number of active agents, number of active file tampering alerts, registry tampering alerts, Yara rule-based malware scanning alerts and various charts with breakdown on those reported alerts. Next, we navigate to the agents page where a list of installed agents, their IP addresses, policy that has been assigned to each agent, their operating system and current status. This page also allows the administrators to send commands to the agents like stop or start monitoring, pushing policy updates and so on. The alerts page is where an analyst will spend the most time on. Alerts are presented in different categories to help an analyst zoom in on the type of tampering event. An alert is generated whenever a file or registry tampering occurs as defined in the monitoring policy. Analysts can also review tampering events that triggered a positive threat and malware scan using our Yara scanning engine. If configured in the policy, DeepDetect can also alert on operating system logon failures. DeepDetect automatically captures active network connections during a tampering event, allowing analysts to identify where the tampering could have originated from. Correlation graph is an excellent visualization aid to help analysts correlate all these events to build a better understanding on the sequence of events that triggered those alerts, and ultimately helps answer important questions like what happened, when the attack happened, how it happened, and who or where the attack came from. Statistics and reports can also be generated from this page. The Policies page allows us to configure a monitoring policy that can be pushed to the agent. Policies are separated by operating system platform, namely Windows and Linux. Let's take a look at what a policy looks like. Basically, a policy allows us to define what folders and registry to monitor. For folder monitoring, we can turn on recovery, which tells the agent to automatically recover tampered files. Recursive tells agent to monitor subfolders as well. A policy also allows us to specify exclusions, what not to monitor. Trusted processes will not trigger tamper alert. We can also exclude certain processes from triggering Yara alerts. Having the ability to specify exclusions allow admins to fine-tune monitoring on each server asset and minimize false alerts. We can also specify what file extensions and registry pattern to ignore. Logon failure detection is another helpful feature, allowing admins to pick up password brute forcing attempts. We can also specify additional response mechanisms whenever Yara scanning detects a known threat or malware. For example, we could instruct the agent to kill the malicious process. The configuration page allows administrators to set up integration to third-party SIEM systems for event forwarding and consolidation. It also allows admins to add additional console user accounts, configure permissions, and assign agents to each user. Additional system settings can also be accessed here on this page. This is also where you can download the agent installers for both Windows and Linux platforms. Finally, the audit log page provides helpful logs from agents, backend server, and console operations. These logs are not only helpful for troubleshooting, they maintain an active audit trail of all operations performed by each console user. Installing the agent on Windows is very simple. First, we unzip the downloaded agent installer file. Next, double-click on the installer exe to start the installation. We follow the wizard-based instructions to complete the installation. The agent will run in the background once the installation has completed. To install the agent on Linux, we provide two installation file formats, RPM and DEB. In this example, we install the agent on an Ubuntu Linux web server. First, we need to install a dependency package called auditd. Now we unzip the downloaded agent installer file. On Ubuntu Linux, we use the dpkg command to install the DEB file as shown here. The agent will run in the background once the installation has completed. Next, we show how we can do a quick edit on a defined policy. Let's change our Linux demo policy to include monitoring on a common web content HTML directory. With policies configured, we want to assign the right policies to our agents. Let's assign our demo policies to both our Windows and Linux agents. We need to update our agents in order to push the policy updates to our agents. Refresh agent to ensure our agent status has changed from pending to started. In our first demo, let's take a look at how DeepDetect can protect a Linux web server from a web defacement attack. On the left, we have our Linux web server which we have installed an agent previously. On the right is our attacker. The attacker has gained unauthorized terminal access to the web server. He also has a web browser open, checking the current content of the website. The attacker takes a look at the web content directory, spotted a subfolder within called important. He proceeds to delete the subfolder anyway. He then tampered the system's hosts file, which affects how a server resolve domain names. Next, He uses Nano Text Editor to tamper the website's homepage index.html file. He searched for the website main title and modified it. Then he identifies the homepage main image and replaces it with a defacement image from his own server. He saves the file. Next, he notices that the website serves a PDF report. The report is located in the Assets subfolder. He downloads an infected PDF from his own server and replaces the original report with it. Once happy with the damage he has done, the attacker refreshes his web browser to confirm his modifications. Now let's take a look at what DeepDetect tells us of this attack. From the dashboard we see 8 file tampering alerts have been triggered. We see the folder named important and the 3 important files within and being deleted. DeepDetect also recorded the modified system hosts file and the tampered index.html file which serves the website content. We also see that the attacker used wget command to download an infected PDF and then replaces the report PDF. Next, we look at some of the network connections that were captured by DeepDetect when the file tampering alerts were triggered. We see that the attacker has made several SSH connections on port 22 from hacker.net and also accessed our web server on port 80. Now, while all the events are useful, DeepDetect provides an even more powerful visualization tool to help analysts piece together the timeline of events. Clicking correlation and draw the graph, we can replay the sequence of events chronologically. With the interactive graph in place, we can make sense of what has actually happened. We see the important folder and files being deleted. System hosts file being modified. Infected PDF downloaded using wget command and replacing the original report PDF. Attacker used Nano Editor to edit our website's index.html file. The connections that the attacker made to our web server served by Nginx process and connections to our SSH service. We can also tell from the connection graph that the attacker accessed our server from hacker.net domain. What happens if we enable recovery mode on our web folder? Let's make the policy change and push this to our agent. The attacker attempts to tamper the website index.html file again. He searches for the website main title and modifies it. Next he attempts to change the website image. He saves the file and refreshes his browser, but to his dismay, his changes did not appear to affect the website. Let's take a look at DeepDetect dashboard again. We see the attempted modification on index.html file, but this time DeepDetect has recovered the file automatically. This is a powerful feature which buys valuable time for security teams to react to incidents like this while saving the company from reputational damage from web defacements. In our next demo, we demonstrate how DeepDetect can help detect breaches and intrusion on a Windows system. We will take the role of the attacker and launch the full attack from getting the initial foothold to gaining full command and control and setting up persistence on the compromised system. On our left, we have our Windows system which we have previously installed DeepDetect agent. On our right, the attacker has opened up a terminal and set up his command and control server on port 4444. To simulate this attack, our victim has been tricked into downloading a game from hacker.net. Our victim was fully determined to play this game and bypasses all security warnings from the system. Unknowingly, when he launches the game exe, which is a Trojan in disguise, the Trojan establishes connection back to the attacker's command and control server. The attacker sees the incoming connection and issues command to fetch the system info and the user account of his victim. He fancifully launches calculator program and takes a screenshot to confirm his commands are getting through. Next, he proceeds to upload several of his tools into the victim's Windows folder for later use. He uploads his personal hacking tool, a ransomware called WannaCry and an additional remote access Trojan called Poison Ivy. He confirms the files have been uploaded. Then, he elevates his access privilege into system privilege for further attacks. He decided to set up persistence on the compromised system to ensure his access survives a system reboot. Next, he dumps all accounts' password hashes. The dumped hashes will allow him to crack the passwords. His password cracker manages to crack the passwords of 2 accounts, the administrator and Alice. The attacker finds it amusing that Alice is using such a weak password. Using the cracked password, he proceeds to create a remote desktop connection to the victim for further browsing. He looks around and notices some interesting files. A password zip file caught his interest and he tried to unzip and view the file. Unknowingly, this password file is a decoy set up by Alice's company to catch full positive intrusion. The attacker notices Bob's account and tries to connect to it. Even tries a few guesses. Now, let's look at what DeepDetect has captured. We see several file tampering alerts. It shows the game exe downloaded by Alice, the 3 files uploaded by the attacker and the decoy password file that the attacker has fallen for. We also see the persistence being set up by looking at the tampered registry. Yara scanning engine has also detected known malware threats from the files involved in this attack. Remember Bob? We see his account has registered a logon failure. The network connections screen shows Alice PC making several connections to the attacker at hacker.net on port 4444. Let's attempt to visualize and further correlate the events. Replaying the events, we can interact and group the nodes in a way that allows our analyst to see what has taken place on Alice PC during the attack. The analyst can also rewind and playback the events interactively. The statistics screen is another visualization tool that allows our analyst to quickly identify processes that raises the most number of alerts, enabling us to quickly targeting an investigation. As demonstrated, DeepDetect is more than just a monitoring tool. It readily supports your security operations team in meeting compliance requirements in areas of file integrity and registry monitoring. It goes beyond compliance by providing additional recovery features and breach indicators. When it comes to security defenses, we always believe in layered defenses as there is no single foolproof solution out there. DeepDetect helps fill in several layers of defenses. You can monitor tampering attempts including decoys. The enhanced indicators helps your team's threat hunting effort. You can choose to protect important files from being tampered. Identify known threats and malware using Yara scanning engine. Visualize and correlate events. And use those telemetry data to support incident response and investigations. If we look at a security lifecycle in your operations, you need a solution that can help your organization continuously do the following. 1. Protect your systems from known threats. 2. Detect security breaches that bypass your defenses. 3. Respond to attacks as they happen. 4. Prevent future attacks based on what we have learned. DeepDetect can help play a role in every part of the lifecycle and align to your security operation needs. We are glad you stayed with us till the end of this video. We thank you. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions.